Handbook for the New Paradigm. Chapter 17. When the group consciousness came together to create the Earth experience as a flow of creation, the free will element within the framework was given particular emphasis with the desire to allow the creative element to be given free rein. The hope was that this special emphasis would allow a blossoming of what you might term a utopian experience within the universal laws. It was not contemplated that the opposite would be created within the context of this focus. The joy of abundance was seen as a result of the proper placement of those laws at the center of the experience. Instead, the result was that the abundance of materiality became the focus, and the concept of the end justifies the means became the framework of the distorted use of the universal laws. If the distorted version of the laws that indeed govern existence in this universe of projected thought is all that is known, then how do you create your way through this experience into a new paradigm, which is in harmony with the totality of all that does exist in balance? This is the crux of the dilemma. If the earthly focus were created within a group focus, it would seem that a return to that beginning point would be the point to move toward. Picture as a beginning point a small group of dots coming together into a single larger dot, then this dot expanding outward into a bubble, with a focus point in the middle. All of this is within an expanding movement. Next, see that bubble as starting to change shape and become an elongated shape, which continues to distort into various configurations, until it seems to be coming to a bursting point as more and more pressure is focused toward that point. Now, in your imagination, how would you return that configuration to a perfect circle? Think back to the way the circle was created in the first place, and repeat the process. Isn't that what we have been recommending? You need not be all-knowing upper-dimensional beings to do this, for as you come together with the intention of creating this return to balance, you need but invoke the creative process to receive guidance. Believe us when we say that it is through your concerted intention that this distortion will be brought into balance. It is the mass consciousness that controls the shape of the bubble. It exists within a flowing movement of the thoughts of all. As the negative pressure is purposefully pushing the mass consciousness to conform to its distorted thought forms, which are contrary to what supports the existence of the bubble, the mass consciousness begins to react. Certain available connections to the source of each individual component of mass consciousness begin to enliven, to resonate as if being irritated by this pressure. The awareness of this reaction is causing more pressure to be applied through the methods that have brought the situation to the place that it is now. Think in terms of the bursting point on the bubble. If this bubble were to react, as would one of your balloons, this point would begin to thin, and become more vulnerable. What if instead this point, which consists of thought which thinks, would instead thicken and react in ways contrary to the apparent laws of the material world? Remember that thought thinking within itself couldn't accept thought that does not fit within the context of creation. Thought contrary to creation is directional only by focus, in what you might think of as requiring great effort. It cannot be released to complete the creation on its own. Thus this process requires that every contingency must be considered, and contained within the plan, or added to the plan, which would then in turn affect the whole of the plan. Do you think this is possible when compared to the realm of thought that can think within itself, and know every contingency in less than the blink of an eye? This all-thinking thought has one incredible restriction called the free will of the participants. However, when the free will of the participants comes into resonance through intent and purpose, then indeed all creation breaks loose, so to speak. Is it as simple as that? What about all the laws of creation that have been broken by all those within the mass consciousness? Isn't each of them required to repent and give up all their erroneous thinking? Come now, isn't that what experiencing is all about? You have forgotten something. Each of you is thought manifested into third-dimensional energy. If thought can think within itself, then do you think that it can do that within each individual? It can, but it has the one restriction of free will. However, the desire to move through this experience and return this planet as a whole to its rightful place within the creation is a free will decision. When an internal boiling point is reached within each consciousness, by the pressure being applied, don't you think that there shall be a call within each for help from their creator? There is a point when those who are under the spell of religions that require an intermediary to their God will bypass that belief and undertake a call within themselves that shall awaken the understanding of their true connection. When that reaches a critical level, then that shall join in the new point of focus being formed at the center of the real circle, bubble, of existence, which within creation has always existed. It is a matter of identifying with the real bubble, and not the one that is this play on the stage of the mass consciousness. If that is the case, then why the big deal? Because the play is reality for the mass consciousness, and in their free will it is real, and the continued existence of these soul extensions is in danger of extreme damage with reaction that cannot be explained in third-dimensional terms. It is a matter of the realization by enough of these extensions that another reality is within their ability to identify and claim. Perhaps your greeting should be, "Welcome to the winning side, let us identify and claim."